Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to review Elrond, the EGLD blockchain. Okay, so this is a top-down view. As you can see, there's a lot of green things with this project from the top down. There's some things that need to be figured out, such as governance. And then there's some things that are not so good over here. And that's just the recent price performance creates price risk. Okay. So what problem does this project currently solve? Well, nothing, but it works. Like it's live. The blockchain's live. They recently put out their Mirror wallet, Mir, and that wallet is the user interface. It's a simple to use interface. What they're going for here is easy to use. So the problem that they're going to go for is slow, opaque economy with a lack of worldwide infrastructure. So if everybody has the economy operating from their cell phones, then you could have all the banking systems, all the loans, all the DeFi, everything you could do with finance. The economy could be opened up to you if you simply have a phone. And, even in poor countries, even in countries that are not as well off as, like third world countries, everybody's getting a cell phone in the world. So that means the infrastructure will be open to them. And that's what they're going to solve. That's what they're going for. So far, what they have made, when I say that what problem does it currently solve, I mean, they just built the roads for their goals. Like, they just released this first stage, this Mirror wallet. And they're basically a general purpose blockchain. So it's one of those. They're basically a trust machine, just like Ethereum or that kind of project. Easy to use interface, scarce native token. And so with these tool sets, with these things that are already built, they're aiming to do the transparent economy of the future. Okay. So, what problem market will this project solve in the future? Okay. So, like I said, their goal is for a high bandwidth, transparent economy, and then give everyone anywhere easy access to it. So how are they going to do that? The Elrond blockchain is 1,000 times more efficient than Ethereum. They're doing 15,000 transactions a second with a 6-second latency and about a thousandth of a second transaction cost. Wow, that would be nice, right? Remove user experience problem. So yeah, using these blockchains, there's a user experience problem. It's difficult to use. That is one of their main selling arguments, is that they make their features simple with a user experience, and don't deal with private keys or public keys. Just make it super easy so grandma can use it. So that's like one of their sell points. So that's what they're going to do. That's when I say that that's due in the future. That's actually now. So in a sense, they're giving people access to the blockchain. So this is like the problem that they currently solved in a sense is, if you can get someone to use their wallet, it's simple and easy to use. But, there's not a lot of usability for that quite yet. So here is another kind of different way of looking at it. So this is the Elrond blockchain right here. Yeah, right here. So this is it, design-wise, and you can see that they have their own token standard that they just built out, like the ERC200 on Ethereum. They have the ESDT standard, and the EGLD token that runs the platform creates allowed for consensus and smart contracts. So all of these things together make up Elrond, and it's currently operating on 3 shards. They can add more shards in the future, parallelization, and so that's how they can scale. And each shard does about 5,000 transactions a second. So now that they have this dApps on here, so this is recently they had some spectacular price performance, and this is what was this opening up of this dApp economy with their Mirror wallet and easy to use interface is what created the hype for the recent price performance, where they had some insane run in price. But now in the future, it is my speculation that in order for price performance to be sustained in the longer run, they're going to need dApps that start opening up, such as financial instruments, social media, or to be determined, like whatever else can be utilized through blockchain, which, is about anything you can think of, really. And this This will determine long-term success of price performance from here. So, they built the road work. Everybody got all excited that the roads got completed, and now they're setting up for the longer-term vision. So their philosophy is it must be easy to use interface, okay? So that's where this mirror wallet comes from and all of that. So, that is their end goal that they're going for. So that's just a top-down view of that. All right, so I'm going to jump right into this thing. So I do expect this thing to perform. Let me put this on the largest setting. Okay, I expect this thing to perform in the long run. I'll get to the summary at the end, so you guys can skip to that if you want to get to the summary, but I'm going to go through each and every detail right now. Okay, so I see future increase in demand for the token. I do see that being the case. Now, here's where I get to the more negative things about this project. Future market excitement for price momentum. In the short run, I don't think the excitement's going to continue on, just because it's already been priced in. And there's a saying in investing, bears and bulls eat, but pigs get slaughtered. If in my opinion, this project has already shown outrageous performance. And that performance is going to cause weaker hands to leave in the short run, just because if you throw in $1,000 into something and now you have $100,000, there's a mighty big temptation to spread your risk. And so that this project has such massive price performance, there's going to be that weak hands. I've seen it before. Even if this project was valued at a higher evaluation, there's got to be a short term, unless institutions come and buy it. There's always that possibility. So I could be wrong about that, because we do know that this cycle there will be institutional players coming in. So that's up for speculation. Okay, so let's get into social media. Telegram group is pretty large. Social media awareness is pretty significant. You're not an early arriver for within the current blockchain space right now. They're one of the higher aware projects with 82,000 followers of their team. And the project itself has 136,000 followers. So that's pretty large for the crypto space. This is all crypto space numbers. And every project that I do is in comparison to other cryptos. So like if this is red, doesn't mean in the sense of the world, it's green. So this thing's still going to perform against the dollar. But what I think is in terms of the crypto space, because we want to outperform the crypto space. That's our objective. Okay, so it's not unknown for the crypto space. It's very well known in the crypto space. Before marketing campaign, make it to the top 10. It made it to the top 10 recently, so it's under huge hype. There in no sense of any sense of the word is this thing not unheard of. Everybody is aware of it now because it's a spectacular growth into the top. Okay, now here's a nice little bullish thing to look at is their upcoming events. So they have phase 3 staking coming in 4 weeks. He said 2 to 4 weeks. So you're going to have some more staking capabilities that are going to come on. I think that might be through that app. And then let me see, image 3. Okay. Okay. So here's their roadmap. You can see that they just did the Mirror launch, staking and DeFi. So this is the staking that's going to be coming online, and they have been filling everything that they said they would be doing. This is one of the most professional teams, I will say that. I'm very impressed with this project, and I will keep this project on my radar. So, and there's also a DEX coming, Orion protocol, so that's pretty exciting. DeFi 2 module and a name service, so you could run web services on top of their platform. That's all dandy. And then by halfway through the year, digital identity, interoperability. Now, I do have mixed feelings about interoperability because I think Polkadot is specialized for that. I think it's going to be very hard to compete with Polkadot. But, the more room, the merrier. In fact, I do believe that it will be a multi-blockchain future. And so, different blockchains will be perfectly fine surviving. But, it's going to be hard to compete with Polkadot. One of the reasons why is Polkadot specializes in interoperability, and I don't think this one is specialized for interoperability, but that's, they could easily build, or it's not easy, but, they could build those functionalities out. But the blockchain is not designed from the bottom up for interoperability, and that's my point of saying. Is it's better to stick with what this project is good at, which is, just being a fast general purpose blockchain, or, that's easy to use. Sticking with that easy to use is a killer strategy in my opinion. So yeah, that's just my take. I could be totally wrong about that, but this is a timeline. Timeline looks very bullish, especially for the first quarter. There's a lot of exciting things coming out for that first quarter that could potentially create even more bullish momentum. Okay, so I'll get back to it. Money needed to move price up decreases. I think there's going to be down. I think pressure against the other cryptos. I do think it's going to perform against the dollar. I'm still bullish in comparison to dollar. If you're holding dollars, this project's better to hold in dollars. That's my opinion. But even though I have all this uncertainty stuff. That's green. Yeah. Actually, that was yellow. But that's not irrelevant. Okay, so let me get back to this. Okay, so low inflation rate or token holder control rate. So, some people might be bullish about this, but I'm actually not. This is their staking rewards. So if you do a delegator or a validator, you're going to get 36% returns or 29% returns. I do think it goes down if the ratio of amount of tokens staked goes up. But right now, if you are doing this for any long period of time, you're probably going to want to take some profits. So that is a pretty inflationary force. So I put that as an inflationary force. However, typically it is higher than 4% also. I think you use 6% returns when you reach that optimum staking level. And also new token issuance is around 10% for the first year and 9% for the next year, 8%. So that's pretty high inflation. But if you're a participant in a network, you don't really realize those inflations, so it won't be the biggest factor. But because this validator rewards are so high right now, I'm just going to leave that at that the inflation is high, as long as I see that the rewards are that high for the validators, because there's going to be some pressure in the future. You're getting 30% token growth. It's just more of a pressure to sell. Okay, so as far as dividend irrelevancy, that's an irrelevant question. So token supply distribution is it's not that good. So the top 10 accounts, now a lot of these are exchanges, so you got to take that into consideration. But there's about 1/3 of the supply in the top 10 accounts, so that's pretty concentrated. If you want EGLD to be something like store of value, can't remain that way. It has to figure out a way to become more decentralized. Even if it is exchange, it's got to be spread about a bunch of exchanges instead of just because that's a weakness. What if one of these gets hacked? That's a potential weakness, or from that sense. But it is not. I've seen worse. But that being said, the only thing that'll cure this kind of thing is time. And I do think that this project needs, so I'll get up here, let me see. Okay, so one of the things I will, that makes me, less likely to enter it is that it's 20x in 4 months, that it's extremely fast price performance. And in my opinion, from experience, weak hands must be challenged. The people that are holding this for 20x, they're at some point, they need to say a bear market in this in order for you to know the price is sustainable. So these people have to be challenged. Their thoughts and ideologies have to be challenged. Even if it's worth more, they do need to be challenged, because nothing in life is easy, especially, and so this thing has to say, hey, you might be wrong, and it has to do that with price performance and to get out the weak, the non-believers, so to speak, and especially after 20x. And so I do believe it needs that to heal the price and make the price more sustainable. But that doesn't mean that the run is over for this by any means. The market cap is pretty high. And that's why I think all of these factors are pretty impactful, and they thus converted this green trend into a yellow trend, in my opinion. Right here, you can see it's green and healthy up to this point, and then it becomes yellow because of all these factors. And that's because, when you have a high market cap, you have high inflation, and you have weak hands. That's not a nice mixture. So this is just my opinion. This is what I use to analyze these things, and this is all subjective. It is totally possible that I am wrong with all of this. Okay, but these are the things I'm looking at. Okay, so they do have roughly a $3 billion evaluation, and they got that pretty fast. Okay, as far as niche, There's no current niche being served, but they do have that easy to use wallet. And, they need an app. In my opinion, what will really prove the long-term viability of this project is having an app that creates a sustainable model, a sustainable cash flow. Like Amazon, they immediately had books for sale and they started making cash flows from that. They need to establish something that makes cash flow that's beyond speculation. Okay. And that's my angle on that. Okay. So I'll go to this end. So regarding the team, the Ben Minsu, I just did terrible with that, but whatever, is a CEO. And this is $1 billion startup. So in my opinion, that validates him. Even though it is, a meta referral, which is the project itself, I still believe, you got up to the $1 billion club, you proved yourself, and so that instantly proves that they're capable. So I put the CEO score from watching a bunch of videos of him as a 9.5. He's one of the highest up there. That is pretty high. Taking this project from where it was to $1 billion valuation is no easy feat. So he is a visionary. I like what he says. He actually sounds like me in a lot of ways, which makes me a little more biased towards this project. He has a lot of experience. He comes from the NEM background. I'll actually get specifically into that in a minute. $1 billion startup, which is this, and he has 6+ years of blockchain experience. I'll get to the team in a minute. Okay, so team has majority control through the majority. So all of these things are irrelevant because the token doesn't control anything yet. It is for the security model, which is, the proof of stake component of this. So yes, the team has the token and uses it to maintain control in that sense, to stake their interest in it. So the governance is to be determined. Right now it's off chain. The team's running everything. So that's fine. Especially in the early stages, it's not that important until they build it, So right now it's centralized though. That is centralized control in the sense that the team is still in control of the destiny of this. The token doesn't vote yet because the governance is to be determined. So, that's why I have all these things as uncertain. But the team is going to want to hand off that control in the future, and that's something to watch for as well. And that's why I put this as yellow, because we don't know what this governance is going to look like. But the good thing is, one of the good things is they understand that once you put that governance in place, it's very hard to reverse anything. So it has to be right out the gate. And I absolutely agree with that. Like when you do governance for a blockchain, you have to get it right out the gate. If you have a bad governance off the bat, you doom your project to failure. That's what happened to EOS. EOS's structure, because they did something with, I don't want to get into that, but they made some mistakes with governance. And when you have bad governance out the gate, you're dooming yourself to failure. And so they understand that risk. Developer compensation comes from the commissions from the app validator. Also, like if they're, your developer team's probably going to want to run a few validator nodes. So they will have developer motivation. Plus they had team allocations in their token sales. So they basically want to build an inclusive economy. That's basically why they're doing this. You could see the CEO talking. He was talking about, I want to do impactful things. That's why I'm even here. Okay, so one of the things we want to look at in a team is that they are trustworthy. And so the tickers that I noticed through watching them is they keep their promises. The team is wealthy. They've been in the space for 6 years, so they don't have to be here. So that proves that they're going to keep working hard even though they're already wealthy. Their understanding, I saw that demonstrated. They share valuable information such as their viewpoints in the world. They don't look like they're trying to hide anything. And they're straightforward. So all of these good factors make me believe that they're more trustworthy, which is incredibly important in the team. Evidence that management is trustworthy. So yes, they have that evidence, especially since the CEO is wealthy from spending 6 years in blockchain and he's still here. He's still cranking away at it. Yeah, so. Okay, so long-term vision and strategy, absolutely. Visionary CEO, high bandwidth, transparent economy, then give everyone easy access to it. So onboard billions of users, that is their goal. So they do have a vision. You could see it clearly when they're speaking. High value upgrades, expect that to happen in the future. That's one of the things is they need to bring value to their app, the Mirror app. They need to bring in that first niche that establishes real cash flow. Even if it's small, that creates a case for survival. Okay, so for partnerships, they have over 150 partnerships, really good, very solid. You could check that out at elrondpartners.com. So they have, now how strong are those partnerships? Some could just be that, oh yeah, we'll work with you a little or something, who knows? But there's a lot of them. Adoption, Binance. Yeah, so they have, they're working on many for adoption. The next one that's exciting is the Orion protocol, which is a DEX that'll come soon. And so that will bring functionality to their app. So it'll be interesting to see if they can start getting, like I said, real applications that prove their validity for, proving their income streams. So evidence of ability to solve difficult problems. Well, this blockchain is a beautifully structured project. Like looking into it and looking at their shards and how they reach consensus and having a secure proof of stake model is all very technically competent. I read through some of it, and I don't have to go into details, but it looks like it's an elegant design to the scalability issues that blockchain faces, and while not compromising security. I've been saying for a while that eventually we're going to figure out how to not compromise security and do it at low cost. And, this is one of those, this project is proof of that. I actually believe they do have security, with security as strong as Bitcoin's, and, that's heresy in the blockchain space, but, eventually, better technology will arise. Okay. So image number one, let's get to the team. Right. So this is the CEO. So Progress, like he was at NEM, back in the day, and he said progress was not fast enough. So then he became a fund manager, and he's invested in things like Polkadot, Binance, and Zilliqa, and Brave. So he's doing well financially, and now he's the Elrond CEO. Like I said, that's a trust factor. Like when you're wealthy and you're still working your butt off, that means that you're more trustworthy because hey, your incentive is at a higher level than just making a lot of money because he's already made his money. He probably made a lot of money, right? So he's motivated by high impact value to the world. So that's an awesome thing to see in a person. And so I think that with that creates higher probability of reaching your goals. Okay, so, Benjamin Minitu. Okay, and so this guy, Lucien Todia software that sells apps. So sales strategy and, basically what the Mirror app's going to be doing a lot of is, it's going to be software that sells apps, or offers applications to users. And then their data analysts, who worked at MetaChain Capital, and then there's guys who, like Felix, who did, Bitcoin exchanges and on forth. But you could see their team is pretty talented. Okay, let me see if I can get that. Got all this. Okay, so best of the competition. Now, personally, I hope that they don't try to go too much for interoperability because I think Polkadot's like leading the charge on that on a big level. Polkadot has more of a developer-oriented approach, but Mirror has a lot of partnerships as well, and they do have a lot of developers that are onboarding. So. But this project seems to be specialized around user experience, whereas Dot is around developers. Like they've designed the whole thing to make developers, and developers will make the user experience on their individual apps. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So I do think Dot will be, very difficult to, but there's going to be plenty of blockchains to survive in the future. But I do think, that compared to like Polkadot, this is my own personal bias. But, I'm still saying this is a very solid project. As far as business demand goes, I do think that businesses will demand a token for staking and maybe using it for nodes or API nodes or whatever. But, I do think that there would be businesses that buy the token just to take part in the project or through business partnerships. But, this is, so yeah, I'll just leave that at that. Okay, so external catalyst inhibitor. So what this is like, how hard will it be for people to leave your system? Well, one of the targets that they're going for is low tech market share. That is people who aren't like the tech enthusiasts that currently make up blockchain. So those types of people will be happy once they get established into an ecosystem that fills their needs. And they won't be looking to change all the time. So if they capture that market share, it will have a sticky market effect. And there's a lot more of these people, low tech people, than there are tech people. So this is the potential to grow the crypto space substantially. Okay, easy to use user interface. That's the difficulty of internal transfer. So one of their main targets is easy to use interface, and so it'll be easy to onboard. Because that's one of their main targets. Internal transfer catalyst. So what speeds up the process of people onboarding? Well, you can see my image 2 for viral promotion campaign. So here is in the app. They have this method, like everybody you onboard, you get the commission. So this is one of the ways that they make their money is commissions from buying the token. And you create demand on the app. You use the token for access to those services. Many of them could be financial. And then you charge commission for just purchasing it, one-time commission. And so you get from every user that you reference, you get their 100% of their commission for a year and 50% for all other cryptos besides EGLD. So, I just said, like if your friend does one transaction, he buys $100, you get 50 cents. So, but if someone does this regularly, or if you hit up hundreds of people, or if you have like a YouTube channel or something and you get a bunch of references, you could get this. You can get this to be pretty high. So, okay, so so the current developer team is pretty solid, as I've reviewed. Okay, let me see what else I got here. Okay, so token use for services and governance. Yeah, this is one of the most important core features. The token is used for transaction fees, it's used for governance, and it's also used for secure proof of stake, or the security model of the platform. So it's what gives the security to the platform. It's what gives that trust machine capabilities. Governance isn't live yet, but that's to be determined in the future. There's no fee burn mechanism, so that's not something we care about. As far as value of the target market, it's pretty large. Want to be foundation of transparent and efficient world economy. They want to be the infrastructure of the new world economy, and that's a $1 trillion market. So that's they have plenty of room for growth. I can't even throw values because blockchain is going to make the world a lot more efficient, and these guys are in a pretty good place to capture a lot of that. All right, I think I covered most of it. As far as future marketing goes, it's that viral campaign again. It's this. This is how I think that this will spread the app pretty aggressively. So that's pretty good. That's going to help spread the awareness of the app in the future, going forward. Value, token market and value, services provided to increase. I see all of this happening. And so I see more people using the project in the future. Value of the service provided increasing, and then tokens per person to go down. But in the short run, I do see these negative effects slowing down this particular pathway. So one of the things you want to look at, I'm just going to get in here, is that the inflation rate's going to drop pretty rapidly. I like their model; it's pretty neat. Over time, they want the network to go from if they start seeing a lot of volume, the amount of inflation will actually decrease. So you can see over time, as they get more user adopters, the amount of transactions that have to be doing to maintain the network goes down. This is the amount of transactions a second for growth, So there'll be about 1,000 transactions, and like towards the end of their lifespan, if they scale to a lot of people, there will be about 72 transactions to support the network, and they won't need inflation to pay for running the network, and that's how they'll have that constant supply of EGLD that will remain the same. So you can see here, what happens is the issuance or the inflation gets replaced with growth of the network. Transaction fees subsidizing inflation. So like the higher their transaction fees are, the less inflation there will be. Eventually there won't be any inflation. So that's their goal, to have a constant supply that doesn't increase. And see, this is their estimated transaction fees. So they want to grow the network so that there's only a constant supply of EGLD. As far as this stuff goes, project we'll have a lot of buy and sell activity. I do expect it to be like that. It's on a high volume DEX, which is PancakeSwap, which is the Binance DEX. Pool of tokens in the liquidity pool, so that's what you'll see there. And the project is easy to use, contributing to more people using it. So yeah, all of those things are pretty good. As far as it's not hard to acquire, so I put these things as non-factors. All right, so I think that's everything. So I can get to that summary now. Okay, so my summary of this project is so regarding the cons, it has had massive price movement recently, so likely early investors need to be challenged, so that is a major con because it's had that insane growth recently. So that is a very risky value. Like if you don't have any, it is very risky to enter now because it's had that insane price movement. Distribution will need time to allow impatient hands to leave. So over time, in order to distribute the tokens, it takes time, to become, if you want to be the reserve currency of the world, you need to allow for time to allow for those tokens to spread. So only time will do something like that, or somehow spreading the tokens out everywhere. Needs massive onboarding of developers to get apps successful from here. Is dependent on getting valuable apps live. And as far as I'm concerned right now, there is no current use case besides speculation. But this is, I'll get into why it's good because up here. All right, and recent delivery pump. So yeah, they had recent deliverables. And you may not have missed it, or you may have, but I certainly did. And I'm not going to jump in something that's just gone straight up. New news will take time. But they do have some good bullish things, like I showed here on their timeline. So it's likely to keep pumping. But I'll explain why. My ultimate conclusion in a moment. So as far as it is the most beautiful project I've seen in a sense, from a front end, looking at the front end and looking at the blockchain and looking at their documents and as looking at their analytics. It was beautiful and well structured. So they're very professional, very, very polished feel, especially for the growth section of their site. I suggest you go check that out. They're professional and visionary team, well designed tech with backers like Binance, and they got big pockets backing them. And they have a beautiful, fast, sustainable blockchain with unique technology. So it's a very solid project in my opinion. Now. It must prove that so my summary is it must prove cast positive niche to get to the next level, in my opinion, to be to get, see the significant performance. And that's just going to take time, especially since they just finished Mirror. I am watching it for how fast that they can get different developer teams to launch on them. I'm going to be watching them for that. They need many to increase the odds, So this is a longer term play. Most of the performance in this particular bull cycle, I believe, has already been priced in, mostly realized. However, I do think in the short run, I'm going to hold off from buying this. That is my conclusion ultimately, because I do, I think in the short run, it's still going to perform. I think that there's still maybe a 5x in store for it. For this bull cycle. So I do think that it could reach an $800 token or a $9 billion evaluation for this particular bull cycle. And I do think that there will be one bull cycle, and then I think we will see a bear market. But I don't think it's going to be as bad as the other one, and one of the reasons I think that is because institutions are onboarding, and we're actually seeing user cases develop. So I think that whereas the last bull market was like this, and it came really down hard like this, I think that this one will be more it'll come down and have more of a struggle and then, take off to the next bull market. And one of the reasons is institutions will be looking for the good projects after this bull market. We're seeing institutional adoption and blockchain is taking over. So, it's going to be a very different bull cycle because the legal risks, many of the legal risks are disappearing. So, yes, I do expect this to be a 5Xer in the short run. So, in the very short run in this bull market. And to do what there is to do is you want to look for onboarding of development teams, which they are doing. Developers. Okay, that's what they need to do to move to the next level, which will be, I think, in the longer term, around the 3-year span or around that time. I think that they must start delivering niches and stuff. Showing that they have great products, and then what we'll see is a $20,000 token, so that's not that long to wait. if you wanted to buy now and wait, and could wait through the bear market, or you could be like me and be patient. But one of the reasons I am holding off is if you look at this chart, you can see that the Ethereum performance, Ethereum's overdue for a pump, and you can see this is, it just had this big pump and it's pulling back pretty hard. I do think that, and you can see from the MACD, and you can also see from the RSI that they're bought against Ethereum, and I do think that Ethereum is likely to outperform in the short run. So, I don't like to sell Ethereum for, like if I think something's going to be, if Ethereum's going to outperform it. And I do think because it's already had a 20x in 2 months or 4 months or whatever, that it's likely that it will be on the negative end against other cryptos. And the reason why it will, because it already put in most of its performance for this cycle. Like a 5x from here puts it at 100x. Okay, so that's most of its performance is already priced in, whereas there's many of these projects that still have 10x in them. So that's why it will see some pullback against the other cryptos. And so that's why I'm waiting, is because I have a pretty strong bag and they haven't seen their performance established for the cycle yet. This project being ahead of the herd, I think this one just got its cycle ahead of time, but it still has some performance, in my opinion. I still think it's gonna 5x, but we'll see if it'll go more than that. All right, so that is my overview of this thing. I think overall, I love this project. I think it's great, beautiful, well-designed project. And so, that's my reasoning on why I'm holding off. But I will be watching it. I will be watching it for its developers. This is a project I'm going to watch for the long term. And if it does have a significant pullback against the alts, like if the alts perform against it, other projects, I might actually just diversify into it. But we'll see how that goes. So if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. I try to deliver the best quality information in my channel, so that you could be fully aware of these projects into the nitty-gritty details. This is a lot of work I put into these things. So if you like this, please like and subscribe and spread the channel. And I look forward to putting out future content for you guys to enjoy.